Hope everyone's doing well and made it home safely. I miss you all already. This sucks. I wanted to give you kind of a brief update on where I'm at and where I'm hoping you all will be able to get to if things haven't been too horribly hectic. So for this week, we're going to be talking about igneous minerals and silicate structures. So I'd originally planned on having us transition into learning about microscopes this week, but upon further thinking, I decided that actually it made more sense to talk a little bit first about igneous minerals and silicate structures, just because there's a fair amount of kind of review in this section, and so it seemed like a kind of better way to transition to this horrible online setting. So what I've done is I've put a file on Moodle. It looks something like this. It's got 2 pages kind of outlining the plan for the week, kind of the main learning objectives. So the first page is the list of topics, so it looks a lot worse than it is. So there's 2 main topics for this week: igneous minerals, so that's going to be minerals that formed from solidifying lava or magma, and then silicate structures, the way silica-oxygen tetrahedra connect in minerals to make different silicate minerals. And so the nice thing about igneous minerals, we've already covered a lot of them. We've covered most of the really important ones. So quartz, and our 3 micas, and our kind of handful of feldspars, and olivine. Those are the ones we've kind of already covered. We were just getting into starting to cover pyroxene before all this chaos happened. So this week we're going to finish up on pyroxene. We're also going to discuss amphibole. Those are kind of the 2 main igneous minerals that I'm going to want you to be familiar with. There's a bunch then of less important igneous minerals that normally we would have covered in more detail, but I'll probably very quickly kind of go through. These are mostly oxides and sulfides that appear in very small quantities in igneous rocks. So zircon, nepheline, magnetite are some examples of those. Then we'll be talking a bit about silicate structures. So if you've taken Geo 101, you've seen a little bit of this, and we've talked about it a little bit already in this class. So the way those silica-oxygen tetrahedra can connect to one another. So for instance, in our pyroxenes and our amphiboles, we've got that pull and peel Twizzler kind of effect. And so that is one way that silica and oxygen tetrahedra can connect to one another to form these kind of long chains that then results in these kind of blocky habits and 2-dimensional cleavage. So we'll be talking more about that as well. So I'll probably have some kind of short little lecture segments for pyroxene and amphibole and those silicates. Haven't made those yet, but they should be up hopefully by Wednesday. That's the goal. And so then the second page here is kind of a to-do list for you to keep track of what I'd like you to do. So the first part here is the reading. So this is all just from the textbook, but I have expanded on it from what I'd originally assigned from this chapter. So pay attention to this document, not the original document I handed out. So the nice part though is a bunch of these first introductory sections are kind of review topics we've already talked about. So you can go through those pretty quickly if you're feeling comfortable on those topics. So for instance, there's a review of kind of the common chemical elements you're going to be seeing in these minerals. There's a discussion of how we calculate mineral formulas. So that's basically exactly the process we were doing on the benchtop SEM activity. A review of ternary diagrams, so how to plot locations, for instance, on that feldspar ternary. And then there's going to be a description of these silicate structures, and then kind of a giant list of minerals that you're going to be reading through. So not all of them, and some of them you already know a decent amount about. But the kind of nice thing about these short little mineral descriptions is that they kind of combine like everything we've already talked about in this class. And so, for instance, if you're reading about plagioclase feldspar, He's going to talk about kind of what the structure of that mineral is. So saying that it's a silicate is probably going to show a representation of how that polyhedral representation of the mineral. It's going to talk about the symmetry with the Hermann-Mogen notation. It's going to talk about all those physical properties. So for a lot of these, you've already determined those physical properties yourself. For some of them, unfortunately, we're just going to have to punt a bit on that. So it's a nice way to get kind of familiar with these different minerals. Not as good as having hand samples of them, but I'll post some links to 3D models that you can rotate around to get a better idea of them. And then there's some reading questions. So again, this is kind of an expanded set of reading questions from what I'd originally assigned. Some of them should be, again, review and very easy for those. In a lot of cases, they're one-word answers. You don't have to worry about writing out a whole like full sentence or paragraph on any of those. So I'm suggesting the due date for those be Monday, March 23rd, but again, all due dates completely flexible. You should also be working to finish up those benchtop SEM calculations and questions. And again, I would suggest that you have that done by next Monday, so a week from today. And then, so the things in red here are the things that I haven't yet gotten together because this has been very overwhelming, so I am not on top of things really. But I'm going to have some videos, short videos up about pyroxenes and amphibols later in the week, hopefully by Wednesday. And I will have a short silicate structure and igneous mineral assignment for you to do as well, and that will also be hopefully posted by Wednesday. So just other notes, I mentioned is going to kind of keep doing office hours. So I'm going to use Zoom. I don't know if any of you have used this Zoom platform before, but it's basically like Skype, except you can just kind of have a meeting set up and people can join and leave as they wish. So I'll be emailing out a link for that. I forget, you probably have to just download the Zoom software, but it should walk you through that process. And so basically it's just kind of like a video chat room that I'll have turned on from 4:30 to 6 p.m. this evening. And if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to just come in and join the chat session. You don't have to join with video, you can join with audio only. You can even just join with chatting text message box only. So even if you just are like going stir crazy being at home and just want to chat with someone, that's what this session is for. And at some point I'll send out a survey to figure out what times to do that is going to work best for people, but for this week we're just going to go with the normal office hour times. So I think that's it. Please feel free to email, call, Zoom if you have any questions. And again, hope you're all doing well. Best of luck. Bye.